I'm Benjamin Yap, and you're listening to Deep Cut. On Deep Cut, we compare a director's most popular film with a personal favorite chosen by one of us. And we also discuss the director's life and career to bring context that helps us view their movies as they may want us to. If you're enjoying the show, please rate and subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts to help others discover the show. Better still, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or comment on episodes directly on Spotify. You can also find us at deepcutpod.com to find links to our socials, Discord, and Patreon. If you haven't already realized, it's just Ben here, and today I have a very special interview episode from my time at the 38th Tokyo International Film Festival. We have our extended festival coverage coming soon, but first, this is an interview I did with director Amano Chihiro, who directed the film Sato and Sato. I requested an interview before watching the film, and I'm so glad that I came away really liking the film and it actually being one of my favorites I saw during my time at the festival. I'd like to thank the festival team for helping me set up the interview, as well as providing me a translator for our interview. Unfortunately, with only 30 minutes, it means that the interview is a little bit less than 15 minutes, and I wish I could have spent more time with Director Amano and asked her more questions. But I think even so, it is an insightful and meaningful interview. Also, special thanks to the interpreter that the festival provided me, Ninomiya Yukako, whose voice you'll be hearing here. There are some minor spoilers in the questions I asked, so I will be marking them in the timestamps in the description, and you will see that as well on Spotify. Enjoy. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your film. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, and I was really looking forward to it. I think the film really touched me, I thought, and when I was going into it, I thought I was looking for something about relationships that would kind of move me, and it definitely did that. So I think my first question, and something I didn't realize when I was watching the movie and I was reading the title is Sato-san to Sato-san, and I didn't realize that both characters, like that is their original last name, and I was surprised to find that out during the movie. And I think the first question I have is like, what kind of made you decide to start with that? Like have both characters have the same last name?
日本では結婚するとそのどちらかが妻か夫のどちらかが
So in Japan, when you get married, at the moment, you have to choose one last name to go with. It's the system now, and in most cases, the woman will choose to go with their husband's surname. In Japan, people call each other by their surnames, not really their first name, so it really becomes culturally a big part of your identity. My name is Amano. People call me Amano, so it really is your identity. And yet, many people, when they get married, many women, they need to part with their surnames that have become such a big part of their identity. I've always felt that that was really a big kind of paradox, and currently it's also become a social issue. So by giving the movie the title Sato and Sato, or Sato-san and Sato-san, I really wanted people to become aware of how when you think about marriage and your identity and then your family name, whether it changes or it doesn't change, it would really be something that I wanted to draw people's attentions to. So that's why.
向けてもらえるような作品になったらいいなと思ってそのタイトルにしました。
It's actually so interesting to hear that because like one of my favorite songs that came out this year from Utada Hikaru, Mine or Yours, she has this one line about fufu bese, which is the ability to keep your last name after marriage. And I was like, oh, that was a kind of a link for me this year in terms of like different art forms. I want to move on to my next question, which is about the actors. So I recognized Kishi Yukino from one of her previous films. English title is Small, Slow But Steady, but the Japanese title is Keiko Me o Sumasete. Yeah, and I remember really loving her performance in that. And in that one, she plays a deaf character, and she's able to express so much with just her eyes. And even with this one, even though, yes, she's talking a lot more, she's also able to express so much with like her eyes and her smile, which she doesn't do as much in that previous film. And I wanted to just ask about the casting process and maybe also the rehearsal process, how you got the couple to become a couple. And because we're following them over 15 years, whether you did anything to make it feel the passage of time based on the way that they interacted or the way that they talk to each other. Like, is there some way of like kind of marking time over 15 years through this acting or through the rehearsal process?
そうですね。まずおっしゃる通り、その岸井さんって本当に表情も
I agree with you because Kishi-san, she really has a very rich and powerful expressiveness and acting skills. She's one of my favorite actors, and of course I also love Miyazawa-san as an actor as well. And when I offered the roles of Sachi and Tamotsu, and then they actually took on the roles and they began acting in those roles, they ended up bringing even more to the characters than I was able to imagine when I was writing the script. So I'm so happy that they were the ones who portrayed Sachi and Tamotsu. Kishi-san portrayed a really powerful Sachi because there was great acting there. And like you were saying, she has a very cute and adorable smile. So even though Sachi lacks delicacy and could be a very despicable character, she ends up being somebody that you kind of can't help but like. And then Miyazawa-san, he's tall and good looking. You think of him as a cool character, but by having someone like him play this pathetic Tamotsu, it's almost like, oh, it's so like uncomely, unseemly that it's funny. And he ended up making the character lovable. And then in terms of focusing on the passage of 15 years, what I did during the rehearsals with them is before the rehearsals, actually, the screenwriter, Kumagai-san and myself, we actually put together information cards about scenes that were not in the movie, but would serve as character reference. So these are little snippets of when, before they actually are in a relationship and they're going out, at first when they're starting to become close, and then other information about scenes that are not in the movie as the relationship develops further, where there are things that you don't see in the movie. These are vacuums, but things that would help them fill in the gaps. So I gave them that information. Plus, I also put together little quiz cards for Sachi and Tamotsu asking, when is it that you feel happy? What is something that you don't like about yourself? And we had the answers as well, Kumagai-san and I put together, and we would give out these cards to both Kishi-san and Miyazawa-san. And we had questions for Sachi when she's 22 years old, and then questions for when after they're 30 years old, when Tamotsu is not able to pass the bar and they're going through a lot. So we put that together, handed it out, and then we asked Kishi-san to answer as Sachi, and then Miyazawa-san to answer as if he were Tamotsu, so that was a part of the building the communication.
保つとしてこう答えてもらいながらこうコミュニケーションしてもらうみたいなこともやりました。
Well, I love that. Sorry, I love that. Yeah, I used to like work in acting as well, so I like hearing about acting processes and directing processes. I want to talk about how the movie is put in this women's empowerment section, and I guess maybe what you think about how it fits into topics about women's empowerment, and I guess changing gender dynamics. And a follow-up question to that is, because we see Sachiko, in a way, suffer through a very long relationship that then ends. I wonder, you personally, putting the character through this, do you think she should have chosen differently? Not for dramatic reasons, but rather for like human reasons, or whether it is part of life that such things happen.
そうですね。最初の方の、women's empowerment.
Yes. So on the first point about women's empowerment, I am a female director, and I'm happy that my film was selected. I know that if you look at the Japanese movie industry, there are still very few female directors. And in terms of all the staff working on movies, even though we've seen an increase in women, it's still not a workplace that is easy to work in. So I think that's why I was very honored that my film was selected for this category. But at the same time, I feel a little bit conflicted because the fact that the industry and society here, we need a women's empowerment section, that really isn't a great thing. And I would hope that I'm able to make the films that I would want to make, not because I'm a woman, it has nothing to do with gender, but really have a more kind of unbiased approach to the movies that I want to make, and we need that environment.
It's funny because like on our podcast, we covered Chantal Akerman, the French director, and then she had this whole thing where she said that she doesn't like being in women's sections as a director because she didn't want to feel like it's because she's a woman that she's selected.
Me too です。
So I totally understand. You're not alone in that kind of feeling.
そうですね。でもさっきそのサチはその長い年月をかけて終わってしまったっていう。
To your point about how Sachi was in a relationship that lasted for many years and ultimately ended, I actually don't think of it that way because I don't think of the relationship as ending. It's true they decided to get a divorce, but the fact that they will continue to cooperate and raise the children together, that part of the relationship is going to continue. So I think maybe the distance of the relationship will be different from before, but it will be something that they are both more comfortable with. And they will continue to have each other, and life also continues. I think maybe that's my take. So for me, it wasn't like she was in a relationship for many years and it ended. It was more that the form of the relationship
終
changed.
わったんじゃなくてやっぱり形が変わっていくっていう捉え方をしてます。
Kind of continuing on about talking about, I guess, gender stuff. The reverse of the story, which is Tamotsu's story, is about his failure to launch and failure to begin his life because he can't pass the exam. And I feel like the flip side of like, as gender dynamics change, like there's a lot of male insecurity. And I remember there was one line when he's talking to the restaurant lady, forgot her name, where she tells him that like when he thinks about relationships, that he only wants to be comforted. And me personally, that really cut me personally very deeply as a man, thinking about my own insecurities. And I wonder if you can talk about how that works in that relationship, because I think Sachiko as a sole breadwinner of a family with a child is very uncommon. I don't know whether that happens very often in Japan and how much that affects like a male-female relationship where like the man kind of, I guess, has less earning power.
私はあるかなと思います。やっぱりその保つ自身がどうっていう
To
より
answer your question, I think the relationship is affected if the man doesn't have a big earning power because, and this isn't just about Tamotsu and Sachi, I think in Japanese society, even though it's less now, there's still a long-held belief that men should be earning money and providing for the family. So that kind of viewpoint is, of course, bound to affect Tamotsu. And if a woman is in Tamotsu's position and is being provided for by her husband versus Tamotsu being in that situation, just by being a man, I think there's a lot more stress and pressure on him.
じゃないかな、プレッシャーは違うんじゃないかなっていう気はしますね。
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think even in Singapore, we're a bit more balanced, I think, sometimes with the gender dynamics, but I think there's still a pressure for men to provide and be like the breadwinner, or at least equal to women. I think men having to do that does affect women trying to become equal as well. I think for me personally, love and relationships are two different things. So my last question is actually just, what is love?
難しいですね。まあでも愛って恋愛だけじゃなくて、ま
That's
あ
a difficult one because I think there are different types of love. Like there's the romantic love, there's family love. Maybe you have a love as a fan for, an idol or someone you admire. I think what's important is to put yourself in the other person's shoes and to try to imagine what the other person's emotions are, even if you don't immediately understand, to at least try to consider that will eventually lead to love.
愛につながるのかなって思います。
So like beginning with understanding.
そうなのかな。わかんないな。一方的に愛す場合もありますもんね。
Maybe, but then sometimes you just, it's unreciprocated. You just love it's one way. So
もうあまりにも問題が大きすぎて一言では言えないですね。
it's just there's no short answer because it's such a big theme.
That's, I think, all the time I have. Yeah, but thank you so much for your time. I don't know whether this film will play outside Japan. So I feel so lucky that I was able to watch it here in Tokyo. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed the interview, and if Sato and Sato opens in your country or city, do see if you can find a way to catch it. We have our festival coverage coming up, so do look out for that. And one more interview that I managed to do while I was at the Tokyo International Film Festival, so do look out for that. Thank you for listening to Deep Cut. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts to help others discover the show. A great way to support us is to leave a review or comment on episodes directly on Spotify. If you want to chat with us and other fans of Deep Cut, come join our Discord server where we talk about movies, TV, music, and share what we're up to. We also have a Patreon if you'd like to support us with a monthly subscription. Thank you to all our Patreon supporters, and a very special thanks to our Patreon Deep Cut Pick supporters, Leah Lai and Nicholas Gao. You can keep up with Deep Cut on Instagram, Letterboxd, and X at DeepCutPod. Click the link in our description or go to deepcutpod.com to find links to everything we've mentioned here. Deep Cut is hosted and produced by us, Wilson Lai, Benjamin Yap, and Eli Sands. Our cover art is designed by Justina Yam, and our theme song was composed by Eli Sands. I'm Ben. Take care, and we're looking forward to talking about more movies with you next time.